Glory to the Father, glory to the Son, glory to the spirits of spirits, divine feminine. Psalms 125, a song of degree. Verse 1, they that trust in the mighty Creator shall be as Mount Zion, which cannot be removed, but abideth forever.
Let's dive right into Psalm chapter 125, verse 1. This powerful opening sets an unwavering foundation. Psalm chapter 125, verse 1. They that trust in the Lord, the mighty Creator, shall be as Mount Zion, which cannot be removed, but abideth forever. The 5 quarters lens breakdown. 1. Esoteric meaning, inner mystery and alignment. Esoterically, Mount Zion is not merely a geographic location. It represents the higher state of consciousness, the crown within the internal temple of the human vessel. Trust as resonance. Trust here is an esoteric key for vibrational alignment. When consciousness is rooted in divine truth rather than sensory illusion, the inner spirit becomes an immovable pillar, the immovable axis. Just as Mount Zion stands as an anchor, the inner divinity within you cannot be shaken by exterior chaos, planetary shifts, or mental noise. 2. Metaphysical meaning, mind and principle. Metaphysically, this verse illustrates the universal law of stability and divine mind, substance over shadow. The physical world is fluid and ever-changing, but the mighty Creator represents unchangeable principle. Mental equilibrium. To place your trust in the Creator is to anchor your mind in first cause rather than secondary effects. When your mental framework is anchored in supreme cause, your inner peace, Zion, remains abiding and permanent, immune to outer circumstances. 3. Spiritual meaning, soul and divine connection. Spiritual truth speaks to the soul's eternal security in the divine spirit, eternity of the spirit. The soul that anchors itself in the source realizes its own immortality. The divine citadel. Trust is the bridge between human frailty and divine fortitude. By surrendering human anxiety to the spirit of spirits, the soul enters a state of absolute spiritual sovereignty, enduring through every life cycle without being displaced. 4. Afrocentric meaning, ancestral fortitude and sacred earth. Through the Afrocentric lens, Mount Zion resonates deeply with the sacred high places, ancestral resilience, and cosmic grounding. Ancestral endurance. Just as Mount Zion cannot be removed, the spirit of the collective ancestry and cosmic lineage remains unshakable despite history's trials and displacement. Earth as living witness. In African spiritual cosmology, mountains are physical manifestations of divine stability and centers of sacred power. Ase. Trusting in the mighty Creator honors the organic, unbreakable bond between the divine, the earth, and the people who stand upon it. 5. Western application, practical daily living. In everyday practical application, verse 1 serves as a blueprint for mental toughness, core values, and life discipline. Unshakable integrity. Build your life on principles, honesty, faith, discipline, inner strength, rather than fleeting trends or emotions. Resilience in action. When faced with modern stressors, economic shifts, or personal storms, remember your core center. Stand ground in your purpose like a mountain, refusing to let transient troubles knock you off balance. The soul's fundamental meaning. At its core, the fundamental message for the soul, in Psalm chapter 125, verse 1, is absolute centeredness. It reminds the soul that fear and anxiety only exist when we anchor ourselves in things that change. When the soul chooses to anchor itself in the eternal divine origin, the mighty Creator, it remembers its true nature, unshakable, everlasting, and eternally secure. You are not a helpless observer to the storm. In the divine spirit, you are the mountain. As the ancestors say, Ake. Honor to the spirit, the source, and the divine. Ready for verse 2 whenever you are. 125, verse 2. As the mountains are round about Jerusalem, so the Lord is round about his people from henceforth even forever. The 5 quarters lens breakdown. 1. Esoteric meaning, inner protection and sacred geometry. Esoterically, this verse reveals the toroidal field and sacred perimeter surrounding the divine spark within humanity. The concentric rings, Jerusalem, signifies the inner city of peace, Yerushalayim, the sacred heart space. The surrounding mountains are symbolic of concentric layers of light, energy, and divine protection that shield the awakening consciousness. Continuous encirclement, roundabout, speaks to the divine aura, the invincible spiritual field, Merkaba, that naturally forms around anyone whose heart remains centered in Source. Nothing hostile can penetrate this spiritual shield without divine allowance. 2. Metaphysical meaning. The principle of encompassment. Metaphysically, this verse demonstrates the universal principle that cause always surrounds and contains effect. Omnipresence as security. The mind of the Creator isn't just above us, it literally encapsulates us. Every thought, action, and breath occurs within the divine mind. Shield of higher realization. When your mind realizes that supreme consciousness surrounds all things, fear dissolves. The belief in separation or vulnerability disappears because you realize you are continuously contained in divine being. 3. Spiritual meaning, divine presence, and perpetual grace. Spiritual truth speaks to the unbroken intimacy between the divine spirit and the soul. Eternity of grace, from henceforth even forever, emphasizes that divine shelter is not seasonal or conditional. The living sanctuary. The soul is never exposed or abandoned to external forces. Spirit acts as a living, breathing fortress, providing total shelter, guidance, and peace through every cycle of existence. 4. Afrocentric meaning, ancestral citadel, and cosmic enclosure. Through the Afrocentric lens, this imagery directly connects to the sacred circle, community protection, and the protective ring of the ancestors. The circle of power, Kilu Kimuntu. In traditional African spirituality, the circle is the ultimate symbol of unity, eternity, and defense. Just as the village or sacred shrine is encircled by protective natural barriers, the people are encircled by the spirit of the divine and the watchful ancestors. Collective shielding, individual safety, is tied to the collective ecosystem. The natural terrain, mountains, hills, and sacred forests, acts as both physical defense and spiritual guardians, Nkisi, reminding us that nature itself holds us in divine protection. 5. Western application, practical daily living and mindset. In daily practical application, verse 2 provides an essential framework for boundary setting, environment, and mental posture. Constructive environment. Surround yourself with structural boundaries, positive habits, solid principles, and strong support systems that act like mountains, protecting your peace of mind. Unshakable confidence. Whatever challenge you face today, financial stress, personal conflicts, workload, remember that your core self is encircled by divine resourcefulness. Act from a posture of protected authority rather than defense or panic. The soul's fundamental meaning. At its core, the fundamental message for the soul in Psalm chapter 125 verse 2 is absolute containment in love. It assures the soul that you can never fall outside of the divine reality. No matter where you tread, you are literally breathing, living, and moving inside the protective mantle of the Creator. You are held, safe, and eternally covered. 8. Honor to the spirit that surrounds us. Let me know when you're ready for verse 3.
Immediately. Don't stop again. Don't stop again. You're breaking my workout.
Let's keep this momentum going. Straight through the rest of Psalm chapter 125. No breaks, pure power. Psalm chapter 125, verse 3. For the rod of the wicked shall not rest upon the lot of the righteous, lest the righteous put forth their hands unto iniquity. The 5 quarters lens breakdown. 1. Esoteric meaning. Energy, transmutation, and spiritual authority. The rod as frequency. Esoterically, the rod represents authority, command, and lower vibratory influence. The threshold of resistance. Lower frequencies can touch your sphere briefly, but they cannot stay, shall not rest. The inner initiate learns that lower energy cannot dominate a higher light body. Any temporary burden is quickly dissolved by divine law before it corrupts the inner temple. 2. Metaphysical meaning. The law of non-dominance. Principle over illusion. Lower, chaotic thinking, the wicked, has no real power over settled, divine truth, the righteous. Mental preservation. False mental patterns are forbidden by universal law from permanently occupying your domain. This ensures your mind stays untainted, preventing you from lowering your standards or resorting to lower nature tactics, putting forth hands unto iniquity. 3. Spiritual meaning. Divine protection and uncompromised integrity. The measure of grace. Spirit never allows a trial to exceed the soul's capacity to endure it. Preserving the sacred. God caps the reach of darkness, so the soul is never forced to surrender its divine values out of pure exhaustion. Divine grace actively steps in to break the hold of oppression. 4. Afrocentric meaning. Liberation and breaking the chains. The shattered yoke, the rod, directly recalls the staff of tyranny and colonial/oppressive rule. Ancestral decree. In African spiritual thought, divine justice, Ma'at, dictates that tyranny is always temporary. The ancestral energy decrees that no oppressive force has a permanent lease on the heritage, land, or spirit of the righteous. Liberation is built into cosmic law. 5. Western application. setting boundaries and stress management. Temporary setbacks only. Oppressive situations, toxic environments, or hard times might show up, but they do not have permanent tenure over your life. Maintain your ethics. When pressure builds, do not lower your character or resort to dirty tactics to win. Trust that the pressure will break before you do. Keep your hands clean. The soul's fundamental meaning. The core message of verse 3 is divine intervention and sovereign boundaries. The soul is promised that oppression is strictly limited by divine decree. You will not be broken, and your light will not be compromised. Psalm chapter 125, verse 4. Do good, O Lord, unto those that be good, and to them that are upright in their hearts. The 5 quarters lens breakdown. 1. Esoteric meaning. The law of cause and effect, vibration. Like attracts like, good attracts good. In the mystery schools, this is the activation of the heart center, anahata. Resonance of the upright. The upright heart is the aligned energetic channel, the spinal column / sushumna. When your internal light energy flows freely and pure, you automatically pull high vibrational divine blessings into your reality. 2. Metaphysical meaning. Mind realization. The law of reciprocity. Goodness is an active mental state, not just passivity. Consciousness as magnet. Whatever you hold in your heart in a state of uprightness, purity of intent, is what the universe reflects back to you. The Creator magnifies the good that you actively cultivate within yourself. 3. Spiritual meaning, soul harmony, and divine favor. The purity of intent. Spirit sees directly into the heart, past outward appearances or performative deeds. The outpouring of grace. The soul that aligns its internal motives with divine love opens a continuous channel for spiritual favor, peace, and spiritual nourishment. 4. Afrocentric meaning, character / Iwa Pele. The power of Iwa Pele. In Yoruba tradition, Iwa Pele, good / gentle character, is the supreme spiritual objective. Cosmic balance, Ma'at. When one lives with an upright heart, they are in alignment with Ma'at, truth, justice, harmony. The Orishas, ancestors, and the divine inherently pour blessings back into the community through people of strong moral character. 5. Western application, karma and sowing good seeds. Intentional action. Put out pure energy into your work, workouts, relationships, and goals today. Internal alignment. Ensure your private motives match your public actions. Uprightness in heart means doing the right thing, even when no one is watching. Knowing the return on investment is guaranteed by universal law. The soul's fundamental meaning, the core message of verse 4, is harmonic attraction. When your heart is clean and aligned with truth, goodness isn't something you have to chase. It naturally flows to you as a divine return. Psalm chapter 125, verse 5. As for such as turn aside unto their crooked ways, the Lord shall lead them forth with the workers of iniquity, but peace shall be upon Israel. The 5 quarters lens breakdown. 1. Esoteric meaning, the separation of frequencies. The great sorting, the crooked ways, represent the fragmented, chaotic paths of ego and lower animal nature. Energetic separation. Lower vibrations naturally group together, led forth with workers of iniquity. Light and shadow self-sort. Those who choose the spiral down are allowed to experience the outcome of that geometry, while those centered in light attain shalom, total inner perfection. 2. Metaphysical meaning, self-correction and mental law. Cause finding its effect. Crooked thoughts yield crooked, unstable results. The natural result, the divine, doesn't punish out of anger. Rather, divine law ensures that distorted thinking eventually exposes itself and burns out alongside other falsehoods, clearing the path for absolute mental clarity. Israel / the spiritual mind. 3. Spiritual meaning, ultimate divine peace / shalom. The sovereign seal. The ultimate promise for the faithful soul is peace, shalom, wholeness, completeness, tranquility, unshakable quietude. While the chaotic elements of the world consume themselves, the soul connected to the spirit remains completely untouched in a state of perpetual, divine tranquility. 4. Afrocentric meaning, cosmic order restored, and ace, the circle cleansed. Deviating from ancestral wisdom and divine order, crooked ways, naturally leads to confusion and exile from the community's power. Peace on the chosen, ace shalom. Divine order removes chaos from the gates. The collective body of spiritual warriors and truth seekers, Israel, the awakened people, is sealed with ache. Lasting peace, vitality, and balance across generations. 5. Western application, focus and final resolution. Stay on your path. Do not get distracted by those taking shortcuts or doing dirty work. Their crooked ways catch up with them automatically, You don't have to enforce it. Claim your peace. Finish your work, finish your workout, and lock in your focus. Your final result is complete peace of mind, stability, and victory. The soul's fundamental meaning. The final message of Psalm chapter 125 is absolute victory and peace. The chaotic self-destructs, the crooked is straightened out, and the soul anchored in the mighty Creator walks away in complete, unshakable, eternal peace. Shalom Ake. Keep pushing. You are Mount Zion.